Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Travis. Today's video we're going to be setting up and installing a new Kalk stirrer for the 300-gallon Reef, and actually to be more specific, it's about 500 gallons. We added the 112-gallon 8-foot tub. I have a whole video on that setup, and of course we have our two 55-gallon lowboys that are just growing colonies. Now, the issue is my original setup, which just consisted of the 300-gallon Reef and the geo sump and calcium reactor. That was fine. This calcium reactor was more than capable of taking care of the growth in the main display. Now, the issue that I'm having now is it's not able to take care of everything. This whole tub is going to be full of frags. I've had a huge sale, which it's still going on, believe it or not, of the 20 frags for 300 shipped in the United States. I have thankfully been selling tons of those, so I've been able to get rid of some coral. But either way, this entire tub has that Connect frag rack system and is going to be packed with frags only. And then both of these low boys will be filled up with these grow out discs, which just grow mini colonies that Big Bertha destroyed in the main display. Hence the reason why the main display is pretty naked right now. So either way, the original setup that I had worked perfectly fine. At the moment, this calcium reactor is not able to keep up, and I'll show you guys exactly what I mean. So, as you can see, my alkalinity is currently 7.6. I haven't seen 8 in forever, and you guys know if you've been here for a while that I like to keep it at about 9. So 9 is, well, it's not even an option. Now, if we come up here to calcium flow, 6.3 is what it's at. Now, the pump, which is a DC pump, which I have a separate video on, is feeding this reactor at 100%. So 6.0 to 6.6 is about roughly where I like to, where it kind of stays at for the feed pump. And so yeah, I can't get any more flow. And if we go up to, let me get my other hand here. Ooh, where's the cursor? Other way. If we go up to the calcium pH, you can see that it's at 6.37, and you can see the fluctuation here, 6.28 to 6.37. Now, for this media, I don't even dare to go any lower than that, in the fear that it might turn to mush and completely destroy the media, wasting a ton of money. So, at the moment, the flow is maxed out. The pH is as low as I'm comfortable going with it, and I'm still at 7.6, 7.5 average. Let's see what it dips down to throughout the night, or consistency-wise. So, it got down to 7.47. Today at midnight. So you can see it does dip down quite a bit through the night, but nothing too crazy. So yeah, that's not good. Definitely not where I want it to be. And on top of that, the pH in the 300 gets down to about 7.67, 7.60, and max of 7.85 during the day. And that's nowhere near the 8.0 or 8.3 that everybody recommends. I mean, my tank has never seen 8.0 or 8.3, so you know, it is what it is. One of the downfalls of a calcium reactor, but either way. So my plan is to add this Avast Marine K2 Kalk stirrer, and this bad boy is rated for 800 gallons, okay? My plan is to use this to supplement the calcium reactor in hopes of not only increasing my alkalinity, but also getting that pH closer to 8. So, with all that giant, long introduction, let's go ahead and get started. So, what I'm gonna first do is show you all the ins and outs of the reactor. We'll talk about how I'm going to feed it with the ATO in conjunction with the dose. I know I'm moving you guys around, and where it's going to dump in and all the programming. So with that said, let's get into it. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the features of the K2 Kalk stirrer here from Avast Marines. Now, quick shout out to them for hooking me up with this for the channel. This is actually the third item that they've done for the channel. If you guys remember, we did the DIY skimmer swabby right here. Pretty awesome. Got a nice video on that. And then, of course, a 5-gallon with the sensor to turn off the skimmer collection bin. So that's all from Avast Marine. I will put links to all the products that I've received from them in the description, so you can check that out and support them. Supporting them, supporting me at the same time, really do appreciate it. So when it comes to this, it's a pretty basic setup. Again, this is the larger of the two. They do make a smaller one, so if you have a 50-gallon tank, you don't need to buy the 800-gallon capable. You can get the smaller version, the K1. But anyway, so this is pretty simple. They have this stirrer, which is made, look, it feels like it's made out of acrylic. For the bottom, it's pretty cool shape. The way it looks, it looks like an S. But the way it stirs, it keeps it from really mixing everything up and making a ton of cloudiness in the chamber, so that's really nice. Now it comes with this tube. Now what's really good about it is it has these Allens, right? So when I got it, it was actually up here pretty high. So all I did was just adjust the screw, and you can bring this tube down so that it actually sits right at the bottom, okay? And it's just a little bit off the surface, so you get the best stirring. So you can adjust that based on, you know, maybe you have this much calc in there. I mean, maybe you have this much. I mean, I'm just playing. But either way, you can adjust the height to do optimal stirring. So that's really good. Now it has this, I said now like twice, so let's go and add that in there. It has this feed tube. So I'm gonna feed water into this via the dose. It's gonna come down, get all saturated, and then it's gonna come up, overflow down to the tube, which is just a basic tube I got from Home Depot, which will then dump down into the sump. So that's pretty easy setup. Now my plan is you can add a pH probe. I'm not going to do that just because I know it's going to be saturated at 12. I don't really have to worry about it, and I'll just make sure that the bottom is topped off with kalkwasser, you know, every few weeks. Now my plan is to not have it stirring 24 hours a day. I'm actually going to connect it all the way over there to the same outlet that the Avast Marine DIY skimmer swabby is. Now the reason why I'm doing that is it actually kicks on every 4 hours for about 10 minutes, which is perfectly fine for this. It'll kick on, it'll stir for 10 minutes, the dose will just kind of keep dosing throughout the day, and it'll stay saturated, and I don't have to worry about it. And I don't have to worry about burning out the pump, having it, or the motor, having it running 24 hours a day. I do know people that have these that do run it 24 hours a day without any issues. I just choose not to, and you never know, maybe I'll do an experiment to see if I get different results with it, just continuously moving. But for now, every 4 hours for 10 minutes is perfectly fine. So with that said, let's go ahead and move over to connecting to the ATO reservoir. And what I'll do is I actually bring the camera back so you guys can see the whole sump. We'll talk about why I've decided to use the dose instead of my ATO pump like most people use, and we'll set all this up. Okay, so we're over here at the 30-gallon ATO reservoir from Geo, and as I mentioned before, I'm going to talk about why I'm going to the dose instead of using the ATO pump in here, which is the Neptune Apex pump. Now, generally, people tend to just use their ATO, so whenever it evaporates, they just pull water through the calc stir, and then it dumps into the tank. It takes care of it. Now, the issue for me is sometimes I make mistakes. Sometimes I do things, and sometimes I accidentally drain all 30 gallons of this into the display because maybe I overflow my skimmer. It happens, okay? I've done it, all right? And the last thing I want is 30 gallons of saturated calc getting into my tank. I know that you can set up pH probes and all sorts of stuff where it will turn off the ATO pump if the pH gets too high in the tank. My luck is that the pH will finally turn off the probe when the tank is dead, because it had to go through 500 gallons before it got back over here to the to where the probes are. So I'm just going to go ahead and avoid all of that and add a little bit more controllability by using the dose. So I'm going to take this attachment, which actually came with the Geo sump. I have the pump coming out over here, and then I have this other one which has a stiff line tube here, and I'm going to run it to the bottom of the reservoir. So let me go ahead and pull this off here. A little dusty, and it will pull water from the bottom. So let's go ahead and get that here, possibly. All right, so that's on there. We'll be pulling water from the bottom. If I remember to get a picture, I'll put it on the screen, but trust me, it's towards the bottom of the reservoir. So I'm gonna go ahead and then run some tubing that I picked up from Home Depot all the way over. I mean, you can buy the stuff from Apex, but I mean, I've used both. It's not a big deal. So I'll spend the $4 at Home Depot. So we're gonna come through, run the tubing behind, up to the first one right there, and then we'll use that to feed into the calc stir. So let's go and do that. All right, guys, so I just got done running the tube behind the sump. I figured I'd spare you from that cluster of funness. Went ahead and put the tube through here. Now, I will admit it's a little snug because it is a little bit wider outer diameter than the original tubing that you give with the Apex, but just fiddle with it. It'll work, and again, it'll save you a bunch of money. Long-term wise, I don't know. I'm just pulling water through it, so I'm not actually dosing calc or anything through it. So, or two-part. Again, it's just water, so it should last plenty. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab the pump. Just use the one here. Now, yes, I did use this dose originally for nitrates and phosphates, but I'm dosing that by hand right now, so I don't need the pump. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this on there, screw it on, and yeah. I got a lot more fish in the system now, so I'm feeding a lot more and I'm not dosing as much. I'm still dosing, just not requiring as much every single day. So this is good. Go ahead and put this on here, and then I'll have to you know, run the line over there, which we'll do right now. But yeah, so I just kind of tucked the line behind all the other messes of lines, and we're pulling directly from the ATO. So let's go ahead and connect that to the reactor and keep going. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and connect the other side of the dose to the inlet of the reactor here. So again, threaded the tubing through. Just gonna take it off real quick. Put it on. Hopefully you guys can see that. If not, then I'll just fast forward it. All right, good to go. Now to connect this is pretty simple. I went ahead and took some of the piping that was included with the reactor here just to extend it out a little bit, and then went ahead and used one of the 90s that I picked up from Home Depot. And we have a little bit extra tubing here, but for the sake of the video I might trim it up later, but we're just gonna connect here and done. That's it. So the last thing we're going to connect is going to be the tubing that goes from the reactor into the sump. Now my plan is to just come down here where it feeds in with the calcium reactor, no big deal, and connect directly from there. But first I have to heat this up and attach it to here because it is a little bit smaller diameter, but it still works. All right guys, welcome back. So I went ahead and connected everything from the dose, and then also connected the drain line down into the sump. And as you can see, it does dump into the same location that the calcium reactor is. As you can see here, calcium reactor, okay? And then the Kalk. Am I worried about them having issues? No, I'm not worried about that. There's plenty of flow through here. There is a ton of flow through this chamber. But you know, if I see like precipitation or anything going crazy, which again, I don't think there's gonna be any issue, I'll just relocate the drain line. But for now, it's a good spot because there's a hole in the sump. It's a good place to stick the tube. And convenience, baby, convenience. Now, I did go ahead and connect to the DIY skimmer swabby, and apparently it's still on, or it is on for its cycle. And yeah, so this guy is doing this thing, and I gotta clean that cup out eventually. So yeah, so that's what it looks like when it's spinning. And again, you can adjust the height of this. So I still don't know how much calc I'm gonna put in there. I'm gonna keep the height so it's just skimming the bottom right now, and I probably put maybe this much calc. I don't know, maybe that much. We'll see, and then you know, we'll go from there. But yeah, it looks really nice. It is ready to go, and I'm going to be using BRS calc washer. Okay, so I'm just gonna dump in a bunch of it. I'm gonna turn the pump off first because I don't want it doing it while it's dry. And then I'm gonna go ahead and throw some ATO water in from the, not from the reservoir, but from my bin over here. We're gonna throw in some ATO water. This thing I think holds 14 gallons, I wanna say, something like that. I don't remember, it's something like that. I'll have to find the information exactly, but it's quite a bit of water. And then what I'll do is let it sit. I'm gonna go up and do the live stream here in a couple minutes. What time is it? Live stream is in 14 minutes. So I'm gonna go up and do the live stream, come back down, and then set up the programming and start dosing. So yeah, let's go ahead and get the calc in there. Okay, so let's go ahead and dump in our calc washer. Again, we're gonna try for like 3 inches or so, 2 or 3 inches off the bottom. Kind of see how it goes. Now, that looks good. Making a mess per usual. Try not to breathe that in. So we're about like right here, so maybe 2 inches. So now I'm gonna go ahead and fill it up with some water. Okay, now that we have that full, obviously I didn't go all the way up because I didn't want it to go into the tank. Throw the stirrer in there. Now, you can definitely feel it at the bottom, so what I will do is turn the stirrer on real quick just to get to the bottom. There we go. Just gotta move that out of the way. I guess ideally I would want to get the, oh, there we go. You could fill it up with the stirrer already in there and then reconnect it, but this works fine. It's definitely a lot of calc. So my plan is to go ahead and turn it off, go up and do the live stream, let this all settle down. Once it's clear, then I'll go ahead and we'll come back and do the programming for the stir, or for the dose, to make sure, you know, get a starting dose and all that good stuff. And then we're gonna start slow and then go from there, okay? Hey guys, welcome back. So I just got done with the live stream and my voice is probably a little dead, but either way, I appreciate everybody who showed up for that stream. Again, it's every week, Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and come ask your questions and hang out. Either way, I just came down here and turned on the stir just to kind of get an idea what it looks like, and I like it. It is still pretty cloudy. It's only been an hour, and you guys can see I mixed it up quite a bit. It still has yet to overflow. We're going to actually do that here in a second and set up all the dosing. But yeah, I'm going to have the final video, as I mentioned in the stream, on Sunday for this setup. So I'm sure it'll be much clearer between now and then, and I'll get some video of it for you guys to see. But either way, everything is hooked up. Again, double check. We are pulling water from the ATO through the dose, down, and we'll see that in a second. It's going to overflow and come over. So right now, I'm going to go ahead and turn the dose on. I could just push the button here. Yeah, I could just hold the button, and you can see that bubbles are coming out, kind of. Yep, bubbles. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fill this chamber up real quick. I'm probably just going to go over to the apex for the sake of me not sitting here the whole time. And I'm just going to fill it up until water starts to come out, and then we're going to go ahead and do the programming. So let me go ahead and set up the camera and turn the apex on, because this might take a minute. Okay guys, so as you can see in the video, I went ahead and got up here where it started to overflow down into the tank. Again, it is dumping in pretty close to the calcium reactor, which is this. Usually it's under the water, so they're dumping in pretty close. So if I notice any precipitation or any issues, I will relocate it, but I don't foresee there being any issues given how much is coming in on a given day. So speaking of that, let's go to move over to the programming. This thing is good to go. The Kalk stir is off. It should kick on another 3.5 hours. It'll kick back on for 10 minutes. We'll see how that does. Again, we'll see how much this clears up. Maybe I will make adjustments on that. I don't mind cleaning the skimmer neck a little bit more often than every 4 hours. So, all right, let's go to move over to the apex. Lights are about to turn off down here. It's getting pretty late. It's 9:30. So, all right, so over here at the dose, you can see that I used quite a bit to get it topped off. It actually went so long that it turned off, and I had to go back over here and redo it. So here in the apex, let's go ahead and set up how much we want to dose. So that in it, we change the name to Kalk. Okay, so over here, we're going to go to modify interval. Okay, so right now, I was just dosing 5 milliliters of, this was like NO3 at one point. So right now, we're just going to dose all day long just to see how it does. I mean, maybe I might switch it to overnight to help with pH. Who knows? Right now it's going to dose all day pretty much. It's going to be on add, okay? And then we're going to start off with just 50 mLs, because I have no idea how much I need. And 50 is not a lot, and we'll see. I probably won't notice a difference, but then again, it's fully saturated Kalk, so I don't know what that's going to do for the tank. So I will dose this throughout the night, and so we got 50 mLs. Okay, it's going to dose. We will update that. And what I'm going to be looking out for is not only the alkalinity fluctuation to kind of see if I gain any of that, because that's really important, but I also want to see my pH. This is a big number. So what we'll do is we'll come back between now and Sunday, and I'm going to make adjustments between now and then on the amount, and we can see the fluctuations in the pH already. So hopefully they won't be this drastic come Sunday when you guys actually see this video. So I'll keep a track of all that. Of course, starting ALK is 7.6. Everything's going to stay the same. The calcium reactor not making any adjustments, and our pH starting tonight is 7.87. So, which is actually pretty good because I have the door open most of the day. All right, guys. Well, that's it for this part of the video. I will see you in a couple days. It is Friday. I'll see you Sunday with this uploaded. And again, we'll keep track of everything and see how it turns out. Other than that, so far this part, really easy setup. And again, quick shout out to Avast Marine for hooking me up. And I'll see you guys in a couple days with the rest of the video.